We got to bring Geraldo Rivera in this morning.
Squash.
Good morning. I got to ask you this. No, we're not talking about enough squash soup with you, but we will be with her dad in a little bit. Is there hypocrisy here? I mean, look, when President Obama normalized a country like Cuba, right? Gets on the phone, and with the first international flight flying there last week, and then the president-elect is now being criticized for taking a call from a democracy, the president of a democratically elected government in Taiwan.
Yeah, but
I mean, well, I don't. Where was the outrage on the other side?
Taiwan, which was the sole representative of China for decades in American policy, the island of Formosa off the Chinese coast, where the nationalists fled when the communists took over. Pete knows the military history very well.
Here, we got to bring Geraldo Rivera in this morning.
Squash.
Good morning. I got to ask you this. No, we're not talking about enough squash soup with you, but we will be with her dad in a little bit. Is there hypocrisy here? I mean, look, when President Obama normalizes relations with a communist country like Cuba, right? Gets on the phone, and with the first international flight flying there last week, and then the president-elect is now being criticized for taking a call from a democracy, the president of a democratically elected government in Taiwan.
Yeah, but
I mean, well, I don't. Where was the outrage on the other side?
Taiwan, which was the sole representative of China for decades in American policy, the island of Formosa off the Chinese coast, where the nationalists fled when the communists took over. Pete knows the military history very well. At some point, Nixon went to China, big China, said, "You're the sole representative of the Chinese people." Taiwan then became kind of a political outlier, and our policy was to deal with China, the Republic of China. To take the call from the president of Taiwan, to take the call from the renegade island, so to speak, is a major diss for the people in the Republic of China with all their, hundreds of millions of people. So, it may be, I was just thinking about it, it is so outrageous an act in terms of diplomacy, it might be brilliant. It might be a way to jumpstart a new phase of U.S.-Chinese relations. I
don't know if you caught Ambassador Bolton on our show earlier this morning, who agrees with you. He thinks it's time for a shakeup. And at the end of the day, we send over $100 billion of weaponry to Taiwan. So it's sort of like doing this little fake dance for the last 30
But here's
years.
the thing, that you read the headlines last night, and if you were on Twitter at all, it felt as if we were heading into World War III. Just some of these headlines there, New York Times, how Trump's call to world leaders are upsetting decades of diplomacy. It goes on and on. But you think about what actually happened, Geraldo. This was just basically a call congratulating him, to which he responded to thank you. You're wondering why there was so much outrage in that moment, not to mention he's not even sworn in yet.
Well, I'll be curious, Abby, to see what your dad, the former ambassador, says about it. To me, this is why you need the pros around. You need someone to say, if you do that...
Don't you think the pros would have been around? I mean, he wouldn't have just decided to accept the call. Someone probably counseled him, hey, this is something...
I don't know.
I hope, but I don't know. But knowing him, I've known him for 4 decades. I love the guy, and particularly these, the last 6 weeks of Celebrity Apprentice. I was with him every day. He's the kind of guy who would just say, screw it, I'm going to talk to him. I don't care. Go shuffle some papers in your bureaucratic cubicle. I'm going to take the call from Taiwan.
And they come out of their office, and it's trending on Twitter. They call back the president of Taiwan.
I think it's a very big deal. I'd be interested to see what President Obama or the White House has to say about it. But, what Bolton said might be true, Clayton. It may be that it's time, in the same way it took a right conservative President Nixon and Henry Kissinger to go and open China, which was, playing against caste.
No one thought it could happen.
Against type. No one thought it could happen. A liberal never could have done it, and the conservative did it. Maybe now this flamboyant new entity we have coming into the White House is exactly the one shaking it.
Or Reagan with the Soviet Union, the START treaties and all of that. I mean, it takes someone who is an anti-communist to do that. Same type of principle.
I think that if it's handled with any kind of finesse today, it'll be a one-day service.
So it's a shakeup.
Playing my position,